Hey guys, in today's video, let's create this fun little pumpkin character in zBrush. Alright, so to get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a sphere, and it's just a 128 Dynamesh sphere, and I'm going to duplicate it, so essentially have two layers or two copies of them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second copy and size it down to create almost like a shell right inside, kind of a hollow effect. And to achieve this, all I need to do is just subtract one shape from the other, and you see me doing that here. So once I subtracted it, I just cut half of it just to make sure, and just sneak a peek inside to make sure that it was indeed hollow. Once I did that, the next step was to create these lines. And the best and fastest way to create these lines is just to grab something like Damien's standard brush, activate your symmetry, and then turn on the radial symmetry, right? And then using the Y axes, you can just drag, for example, in this scenario, I had 8 lines, right? So you can drag them all at once. And it was a cool little trick. Once I did that, I used the deformation gravity to kind of create this shape where it looks like the bottom is, a little bit heavier, almost like a pear shape. All right, so that's just in deformation. Then I grabbed a cylinder to create the top stem part, which is just a simple cylinder, which I then inflated, but to inflate and deflate, I used the same trick as I did for the lines for the pumpkin. You can see me turning on the active symmetry here, and it's still set to 8, right? So then you can just kind of go back and forth and make it kind of wobbly and organic on purpose, right? Then still staying in the active symmetry, I grabbed the Damien standard and just made the lines to be part of the stem as well. And then here you see me going to bend curve and just kind of shaping the top piece to be somewhat interesting, maybe a little even whimsical, right? Okay, and that's still, that whole stem piece is just Dynamesh 400 resolution. All right, then I just simply use the move brush to kind of put it back into place. Next, I wanted to create the eyes and the mouth, and there's infinite amounts of ways you could do this, but the way I wanted to do it is just I wanted to use the live booleans. So what I did is I appended a cylinder, right, and then just subdivided it a bunch of times, and then just simply positioned it where I wanted the eyes to be, right? So you can see me doing the first eye here, and then I did the subtraction icon on the layer and just turned live booleans on. And the cool thing about this is that once your shape is in place and it's kind of being subtracted in real time, you can then grab the move brush and literally just start sculpting the subtracted shape, right? And it's a really cool workflow because the outcome of that is really clean geometry. So you can see how clean the lines are because the boolean is just doing a really nice job, and the Dynamesh that's being subtracted was subdivided, so that gives really nice subtraction resolution. All right, so here I'm just kind of going between the two cylinders back and forth, trying to figure out what type of eyes I wanted for my pumpkin. I wanted him to be spooky, but at the same time kind of friendly. To do the mouth, I did the same thing. I just grabbed yet another cylinder, subdivided it, and then also subtracted the layer. You can see me turn that on right there, and then grabbing the move brush once again, just kind of in real time sculpting the mouth cavity to what I wanted it to be. Another approach would be something like masking and then subtracting and doing it that way, you know, subtracting the shape. But I thought this was a cool workflow because, again, it allows you in real time kind of move the shape around and achieve these really interesting angles. You can see some of the angles are kind of, you know, kind of really fun and unusual, right? So that was kind of a happy accident. And then here, once I realized the front of the face, where the front of the face of the pumpkin is, I adjusted the stem to be almost like a, I don't know, like a hair, right? Just on top. Next, I wanted to add maybe a leaf. And to add the leaf, there was a few different ways I could have done it, but I decided to just extract it straight out of the side of the pumpkin. So because the pumpkin is relatively, you know, high res, I could just subtract it. And then of course I can just use the knife tool to cut and sculpt the leaf extraction into what I wanted to be. So here initially I just started cutting it up, and then you can see me bending the curve, the slicer, to achieve more of a leaf, kind of a more of an organic look to the leaf. And all right, once that was done, I just simply positioned the leaf into position and just used the bend modifier to kind of curve it. Now I knew that I also needed a little stem from the leaf to kind of connect to the larger stem. So to do this, instead of bringing in yet another shape, I thought maybe I could just grab the bottom of the leaf and just simply literally just move it down into position. Kind of, I guess, almost like extracting it. So that, I think that worked. That's the fun thing about ZBrush, is that there's infinite amount of ways to sculpt. Right here you just see me adding a small leaf detail, and I didn't care about it being too subdivided because I knew if I polish it, it's going to give me that soft leaf look that I was going for. Next, I wanted to get rid of that wobbly geometry in the pumpkin from doing the Dynamesh. So I just simply Z-remashed the entire thing and then just subdivided it. And you can see the result is very clean. So it's nice and organic still looking, but at the same time got rid of those ugly Dynamesh wobble. All right, here you see me making a tongue. So I grabbed a box and just using the inflate brush, I literally turned that kind of a box rectangular into an organic looking tongue by just simply Dynamashing it and keeping it super low res, still at 128, and just kind of inflating it and Dynamashing it and then sizing it and just putting it into place. Once it was into place, I wanted to make it kind of a pointy tongue, so maybe it's a little more interesting. So I did that by turning on AkiCurve and then just using the spiral brush. You can achieve really awesome, fast, organic waves, and I use that for the tongue. All right, once the tongue was done, I was on to making a couple teeth, and I really wanted them to be fun and cartoony, so I just used a low res Dynamesh and then just used the taper modifier to kind of taper it out and make it feel like a cartoony tooth, right? Then I just simply put it in place and created 2 more just by simply duplicating it, rotating it, and maybe scaling it a little bit just to create a little more differentiation so it doesn't look like it's exactly copy pasted. I knew that the bottom third tooth needed to be just a little bit smaller, so I changed the scale, and then I also wanted to maybe add a couple little kind of a stylized cuts. Maybe it's like a chip tooth, and so I just went through all 3 of them and just kind of chipped them a little bit just to add a little more detail. Alright, here you just see me switching to a different material. I do that a lot in ZBrush, jump between materials, because again, as I said previously, it allows me to see different lighting and different angles, and a lot of times it's a great way to find any imperfections. Here you see me doing the eye, the pupil of the eye. So for that, I just simply grabbed a cylinder and kind of turned it into a kind of a coin shape and just put it into place. And then again, to stylize it, I just simply sliced a little indentation there, and I needed to make sure that it's not, it didn't have subdivision levels if you're using a slice tool, the knife tool. Alright, for the second one, I just simply copied it just like I did with the teeth, moved it into position, rotated it, and also changed the size to make it, again, a little more fun and whimsical. Alright, here I turned the shapes into I kind of baked the booleans, right? Because my computer started to get a little slow, and for that I just kind of merged the shape into one, and that kind of baked the holes in, right? So the mesh was actually, separated with the booleans. And then here you see me just grabbing Damien Standard, and I wanted the pumpkin to have maybe kind of a spooky scar on the side of it. So for that, I just grabbed Damien Standard, and then I kind of pinched the the corners of the scar, and then here you see me kind of smoothing it out and just grabbing pinch and just pinching the corners to make them a little sharper. And then I also wanted to add kind of staples that look like they're holding that scar together, and for that I thought it would be fun to also incorporate zModeler into this workflow. So here you see me just creating a really super simple box, and then just using zModeler to kind of extract the sides of it to make it into like a staple, like a metal staple shape. So I extruded the sides and then I pulled in the corners in to make it look like a staple. Alright, and then once I made one of them, obviously I just used the control and drag to make a bunch more and just go around the entire scar, right? And just kind of putting them in position by rotating them and using the mask to kind of control which one I wanted next. Alright, once I dragged a bunch of copies, I knew that I'm gonna have to adjust the angle and position a little bit more to make it kind of custom fit to the pumpkin. So for that, I'm using Move Topology, and it's allowing me, even though all these staples are on one layer, Move Topology will allow you to grab each mesh individually and kind of put it in position. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.